I'm going to be showing you today how you can avoid your concealer looking white like this and how you can make it look super fluid and uniform and even like this. So let's get started. But before we do, don't forget I do have an online publication which is all about beauty, style, business, self, culture, a bit of everything, all written by me. 2 different subscription offers. One is free where you get access to most of the site. The other is paid, which only costs around £1 a month, and it gives you full access plus subscriber benefits and perks, and we get a little room where we can chat. I even answer questions that you guys ask over here, over there. So make sure you go and show some support, and don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. And I'm over on Instagram. Now let's get into it. Now, we've all seen it, you know, when your concealer is just way too white around the eye area and then you take a picture and you're like, what is going on? You could also call this flashback, but also face to face, you can see that it's extremely light. So I have seen this many times on other people. I have myself made this mistake in the past, and I really wanted to share with you what you can do to help avoid that, to ensure that it really doesn't look like that. Now, I am going to be showing you how to underpaint in a very short way, but this isn't about why you should be underpainting. So the answer to this question is not, okay, therefore you should be underpainting, or therefore you should be using a concealer which isn't that light, because maybe your concealer that you're using is light, but it's the perfect shade to cover your darkness and you don't want to really change it to a darker concealer. So I'm going to be showing you how you can do little things to help still be able to use that same color concealer, but also stop it from giving it, number one, any kind of flashback, but also kind of making everything look uniform on your skin so that the color doesn't look like it's kind of separate, you know? So the answer isn't underpainting. The answer also isn't changing your concealer color. It's kind of a combination of everything I'm going to show you today. And hopefully throughout you will understand exactly why that makes it so much easier. So even if you don't want to underpaint as a whole, like your entire face, and it's a technique, if you didn't know what that is, by the way, you might want to check that out on my playlist under the base or foundation playlist. There's a whole video there, more than one, talking about how to underpaint. But this isn't about underpainting your whole face. We're just talking about that kind of area on the under eye area so that you can really ensure that you get a nice even kind of fluid finish to the skin. It's very kind of like uniform as well, and there's no separation in color. So I'm going to actually be using a concealer which I sometimes use when I want more brightness on the under eye area, and I usually use this when my skin is not so tanned, and that's the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, but in 27S, which is in light medium sand. So this is actually normally a little bit too light for me when I'm tanned, but I like using this concealer when I'm not tanned because it really does help to brighten up the area. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this to my under eye area. Now, what I'm going to be doing is actually showing you one side of my face in the way that it would look very white, and then the other side where it's not going to look that white, but yet I'm still using the same product. So this is where you're really going to see the difference. I'm going to go ahead and apply this on my under eye here. You might be able to see just how kind of like white this actually is when I apply it. I'm going to go ahead and use a sponge to just really kind of like buff that in on my under eye area. You can see like this is super white in comparison to my skin, right? Okay, I feel like we've kind of like got the concealer everywhere we wanted it, and I'm happy with the coverage there. Obviously it's extremely white, but let's move on. Now, my next step is going to be applying foundation. Now, as I said, on this side, I'm going to have one technique. On the other side, I'm going to have a different technique. So on this side, I'm going to be showing you what it's like when it does look very white. And on this side, it's not going to look as white. So this is where it's kind of like, it does kind of like blow your mind a little bit. So I'm going to be using a foundation, and my foundation is my NARS Sheer Glow in Aruba. And I'm just going to get some of this on the back of my hand. I'm going to just apply this with my brush on this side of the face. And this is usually the way that people would apply, or the order in which they're applying foundation and concealer, that would cause the concealer to really kind of look quite white. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply the foundation to this side too. But we're not really going to go on the under eye area because that's obviously going to ruin that coverage. So I'm just applying it to the cheek area. And you can still see how the under eye looks very white. But what I'm going to do is get my sponge, go into that same foundation. And this is where I am now going to go over the area where I've applied my concealer. And you will see we will still get the brightness that we want from the concealer, but it's just not going to look white. But bear in mind, you're not going to see that result yet. You're going to see it once we've set the whole face. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my concealer and apply it in the same way on this side. And this is where some people will apply their concealer after foundation and it just looks white and disconnected. And you'll probably end up having to like blend a lot more than you usually would do. Okay, you can already see, look at the difference, right? Now I'm gonna get my powder and I am gonna set the under eye area over here. Before I do that, I just wanna like literally get rid of any kind of like under eye creasing that I may have here. There you go. You want to do the same here, get rid of that creasing. And then apply the powder. Let's just get rid of the rest of the powder and apply it on the cheeks. And then let's dust it off. And this is where you're really going to see how it still looks so white on the under eye area. Look at the difference. It's crazy, right? If I were to look in the mirror, it doesn't actually look that different. But when I look in the camera, I can really see that this side here, I just literally just poked myself in the nose. This side here is super white in comparison to this. This looks a lot more natural. I've still got the exact same concealer on this side. But look at the difference it makes when you apply it underneath foundation as opposed to on top of foundation. Here, it's obvious where I've applied it. I've got the coverage, it's flawless, but it's very white. Over here, it's flawless, I've got the coverage, but it doesn't look white, it looks more uniform. So I really wanted to kind of share that with you so that you guys can understand why it looks so white and why it may look so disconnected from everything else on your face. Two different ways of applying your concealer and foundation, all the same products. It honestly is mind-blowing how much of a difference it can make. So hopefully now all those people out there have been asking these questions like, what's the point of underpainting? Doesn't it just like cover the concealer up? Doesn't it just get rid of any coverage? Like, it really doesn't. I don't even need to explain that anymore. I think I've gone through it a million times. But there are so many other benefits to it, such as this. I mean, clearly this is way too white. Like, it's honestly insane how it looks not that different in the mirror to me, but on the camera it really does look different. And it just goes to show, because obviously I've got lights here, if you were to take a picture, the flashback would be insane on that side. I would love for you guys to actually try this out yourself, because it's one thing kind of like watching someone show you and seeing it on camera, but another thing you actually trying it on yourself, because it might kind of like answer a lot of the questions that you've had yourself. It might actually end up like solving a lot of the problems that you had and you didn't realize that just moving things around a little bit, reshuffling it a little bit and just changing the order of things can actually help to solve those problems for you. So kind of don't be afraid, is what I'm trying to say, of experimenting and kind of like moving things around if you have the time, or if you have like, say, there are certain days where you're not too fussed about what your makeup, like it doesn't have to be so perfect, so you don't mind practicing something and trying it on those days and seeing how that actually works out for you. Because honestly, if you genuinely try these things, I feel like you're actually going to solve so many of your own problems. I still cannot get over how I can see the white underneath this eye and I can't see it in camera. Like, I mean, in the mirror, I can't actually see that much of a difference. And in the camera, it's so obvious to me, even though the camera's like not that far away, I can like I can still see, like, it's so obvious. It's just so white there. There's just this white cast there. And it is just amazing to me that it's the same concealer on both sides. So it's pretty crazy. I really do hope that you do try this whole look out, because I feel like it's just going to help you to understand makeup, colors and textures, and how they mix together and how they blend together and how they look in different orders a lot better. Please go away, have a play around with your makeup, you know, think about how you can change things around a little bit just to help you to have a better understanding of how these textures and colors work with one another and how they can end up looking. So please do go away and try that. It would honestly be amazing for you guys to do that, and it would really help you so much. I am sending you loads of love wherever you are in the world and sending you loads of good vibes. And if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.